Welcome to Drag Racing Central, streaming coast to coast. Lucky to sign in. Here we go.
So you got to tap that to unmute it, don't you? No?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sporting Scribe Drag Racing Central. This is our third episode, ladies and gentlemen, and it's great to see the place is filling up here. Big thanks to everyone at Stella's Pizza for offering us a venue here. It's fantastic. We've had pizzas tonight. It's been great. So welcome to Susie Stewart. How are you, Susie?
Hi,
great to see you again.
Thank you. How are you?
And to our other panel members, the gorgeous Ash Haley and Pete Alexander. How are you, boys?
Good, thanks.
Nice to see you. Good crowd turning up again. It's great to see that we're filling Stella's every time, so that's what we need to do.
Absolutely. There's always a great crew here at Stella's.
And also, I've just done the big share trick on the phone of Drag Racing Central, which I see is up here at the moment.
Yeah.
And already coming back from the phone, I've got people from Cleveland and Ohio waving back to us. It's the middle of the bloody night over there, but they're going to watch us. So This is the Kennedy family and our friends at No Static Radio. And some people, Paul Hutchison, he's back in Denmark and he's watching too. So we've got some international viewers tonight. So
wonderful. And don't forget to make some comments. We'll try and read out as many as we can during the night. So just, throw your comments in there. If you've got any questions, just let us know. We do have a competition as well tonight. Would you like to just pass over that bag? So we have some foot bags here from Kenny and Amanda Stewart. So we are going to give you a question and there'll be 3 of these to give away. Kenny and Amanda will send them out to you during the week. So have you got the question there?
Oh, I certainly have. The question is, now Ken has been racing his dragster and been sponsored by Fuchs Oils for 26 years. Now they've just got an extension. The question is, how long is the extension? How many years is the extension?
Yes,
so he's done 26 already. How long is the new extension on the contract?
So if you're watching our first show, they did mention about how long the re-signing was for. So the first 3 correct entries will receive one of these backpacks. So we'll hopefully try and let you know throughout the night who's going to win those as well.
I'll just go and ask him.
So we will PM what we see on the screen. We will PM to the people who come up with the first 3 correct answers.
Correct.
And you'll get one of these beautiful Fuchs bags,
Wonderful.
And it's Fuchs Oils, Fuchs as in chooks. All right? There we go.
And so we can lead in now to our weekend. How great was our weekend at Mildura?
Blinder.
Absolutely, was a great
Just a
day,
blinder.
wasn't it?
It was the track. Dino James, you and your boys, mate, killer.
Absolutely.
First of all, what we've got to do is I must pay tribute to the crew in Mildura. We had their president recovering in hospital.
Yes, we did.
Kingsley, we're thinking of you, mate. Talk to him today. Going to see him tomorrow. We're going to have cream cakes tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
But a real tribute. And Kingsley, take this. You can have a cry if you like. I might even cry. But the way that meeting was run without you goes to show your attitude, your professionalism, your passion at getting a team together and doing such a great job without you.
Absolutely, which just shows a great team leader, doesn't it?
And it did. He and Lauren and Dean have built a little dynasty in that club now. And for what Lauren was everywhere, so was Dino, and their team just backed them up brilliantly.
Yep.
So Kingsley, Lauren, Dino, and all the troops, the members, the committee, the kids who run up and down that bloody start line and keep it so perfect, they're amazing.
Yep.
Give yourselves the biggest pat on the backs ever, because what you achieved last weekend without your leader, you made him so proud, and you made the drag racing world so proud too about him, because it was a brilliant weekend.
It was, and it was smooth. It was just fantastic.
We had so much fun.
We did. So we've got a nice little package to show you now, so hopefully you will enjoy this.
2 in the little utility. Congratulations to both drivers for making great vision there, Susie. Fantastic vision, and just looking at how good was the track when you see the wheel stands that was coming off it and the passes that the cars were doing. They had trouble getting a decent burnout, really, because the boys had really prepped the track beautifully, and just seeing that vision. We had a nice shiny dance floor all weekend,
We certainly
didn't we?
did. It was a very, very good track.
Yeah, fantastic track. Yeah.
Let's have a look at the winners
Yes,
on the weekend.
Got some winners here on the weekend. Just a quick thanks to Just Muscle Cars in South Australia and to Corey Pocock, Work and Play Trailers. So Anthony Rochelle of Just Muscle Cars, we'll talk about them a little bit longer. But our winners in the junior drag system the other weekend, Australian champion again, Jakey Berrios took out the juniors with Tim Baker. He was the runner-up for the weekend. In Super Street, Michael Jennings took it out in the old FJ, the Exterminator, and Rod Kerr took it out. So we had two old Holdens taken out there. Rod Kerr took it out in the LH Toronto, little Garfield.
Yeah.
Super Sedan. Now this bloke, Dave Todd, took this out. Now, his car ran on rails all weekend. Toddy was just, they say in the zone.
Yes.
He drove that to win from day one. From qualify one, it was a brilliant race, a great week. We've got Alex Groydis just around the corner here, who was runner-up in Super Sedans too, in the yellow taxi.
Yep.
Hope you don't mind me calling it yellow taxi. Now, Mod Bike, Gavin Don't, a couple of times Australian champion there, and Darren McGregor,
Yes.
Local boy from Mildura, a really nice young fella. Modified, Chris Farrell from Portland, South Coast Railway, was runner-up.
Yep.
He was trying to double up. He actually won the meeting previous, the nostalgia meeting, and he got into the final, so that's good enough. But Australian champion Adam Mundy took out the win. In the Supercharged Outlaws, another great one, Warren Leonard was runner-up. Now, how good
He
is
had
that?
a great weekend. Really good
An
weekend.
amazing driver. I think
a
once the
great
foot
guy.
goes on the accelerator, it must stick.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to take it off. Great racing. But Christine Steffens, this amazing lady, twice through the day, she got under the second on the 60-footer. She ran a 9.78, a 9.56 or something.
Yeah. And
under-
she's
on
come
the
down
60s.
from Queensland. She's a lovely
Yeah.
lady. We had a great
Yes.
chat on the weekend.
Yeah, but two under the second on a 60
Yeah.
foot. That was very impressive. Top sporty, Glenn Henley in that beautiful little 454 Super Sedan, the little Datsun utility.
Yep.
And Sam Cardinale in the 84 Chevrolet Camaro, the red Camaro. He drove very well too. He was runner-up. Supergas, the twice Australian champion himself, Colin Griffin, took it out. And the beautiful Renee Cockrell, she runner-up. Lovely lady Renee, and drove beautifully to the weekend. Superstock, now this was just a mixture of points here. Now Adrian Vella and Matty Forbes took out the points, so they're on equal points.
Yep.
And in comp, what is he, about 27 times Australian champion, Craig Geddes. Craig took it out, and Shane Baxter came out in his little altered, and both these cars, how they didn't finish it, how they didn't take off and land down in Redcliffe is amazing. These things, they just ran like rockets all day. So that was some great racing there on a great meeting.
It was.
Really
too.
was, yes.
We should just run through quickly the top and the points in each group.
We can do that right away. Now, Craig Geddes and Shane Baxter, they were on 115 and 85. That was in your competition, Group 2 competition. Then Superstock, Adrian Vella and Matty Forbes are on top. Louis Svingos is in 20 and Graham Sims. Then we go to Vlado Turek, the Demolition Man in Top Sportsman. He's still running at 260. Jason Arbery's on 190. Now the Mildura round went to Glenn Henley and Sam Cardinale, so they're in 180s each.
Yep.
Christine Steffens increased her lead. She's up on 300 now.
So
Justin
she's
Russell.
maxed out points.
Yes, she has. Spud's gone to 230.
Yep.
Johnny Ferguson, who didn't race at Mildura, is up on 180. So I reckon Ferg, in that rusty old 55 Chevrolet, I reckon, good-looking car, I reckon he's going to have a lot of fun today.
See what happens there next summit round.
Adam Mundy, the Australian champion, took out the meeting again in Mildura, so he's on 100. Chris Farrell's on 80.
Yep.
Moving in. And Josh Baker, look at this. Josh in his first season running third in the points on 60, so he's
We'll
doing
have a
well.
chat with little Josh later.
We will. Super Sedan, Chris Lilly is taking top points. Marty Mirko, the current champion, he's on 170. Alex Groydis is the Victorian champion at the moment too. He took out 80 points, and Dave Todd took out the 100 points.
Yep.
Michael Gennera still running at 270. Now, Michael ran a VK Commodore, a little white VK Commodore, just a nice little easy car there like that, ran it down the track all day, did very well. Didn't take too many points home, only took 20, but still leading on 270.
Yes.
Rod Kerr took 80, so he's in second point, and Mike Jennings is on 100 exactly. In their modified bike, Gavin Dane took out Mildura. So his points now 250, and Levi Addison, who was at Mildura, unfortunately, Levi didn't fare in the points or anything, but is still running second with 170. He was the leader up to last weekend. And Darren McGregor at 80 points down further. Moving right along on the junior drags, and Tommy Turek still running. Look at this.
Yeah.
Tommy took 60 points out, so it boosted him up to 200 points in front of Aidan Abel, 190. Then Jake Berries took out the 100, and Tim Baker took out the 80 at Mildura, so well done to those two. And our last one is the Super Gas cars of Colin Griffin and Renee Cockerell, both leading on 100 and 80 respectively after last weekend. So
Fantastic.
that was a great weekend. Big thanks to Work and Play Trailers for their sponsorship on that.
And there was just a couple of records broken too, just briefly before we introduce our next guest.
No less than 5 national records were reset at Mildura Sunset Strip, hosted by St Razor Drag Racing Club on the 21 and 22 of September. By the close day, records were attained by the following races. Rob Mackay in a double B MD, his ET was 4836 at a speed of 141.38 mile an hour in the Nissan 6-cylinder Nissan turbocharged dragster. Shane Baxter in the double B double A ET, his little altered, a beautiful looking little car, a 433.1 in the altered drag, so that was the ET. Then Robbie Cassar on the bike and the double A MB, pardon me, a record of 4595 on the Kawasaki ZX14. And Craig Geddes, again, in the BD, his ET, a 440.01 in his little 307 cubic inch Chevrolet dragster. Another driver who was getting constantly under the 1 second on the 60 foot. He did a couple of 9s on that too, so well done to those drivers for a fantastic weekend.
Okay, so coming up now, we'd like to introduce supercharged outlaw racer Wayne Talbot.
We're running the Talbot Vegetable Growers car of Wayne Talbot, and look at the name on the back of that legend, and there's history alone, Graham Hussey Performance. And now we've got history down here on this side too with the Leonard family running this front engine dragster. Look at this, all over the place. The wheels up off the ground. He runs at 105 mile an hour to 505 and a 434 at 195 miles an hour, ladies and gentlemen. How good's that for Wayne Talbot? 434, 195 miles an hour. Just having a look here, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of years ago, we had a 402 on a door slammer at 190 mile an hour. Wayne Talbot has just run a 195 mile an hour. Both cars get a nice burn on the tyres. Look at that, the Talbot car nearly goes full track. Jaden Talbot rolling his brother Wayne back. This has been an interesting run now, 195 mile an hour pass earlier this morning. Now the track's obviously got more rub on it, it's a little bit more heated. The boys have just done a smudge on it. A little bit of a hard hit and goes out to the side there, but look at this, we've got a 384 at 202 mile an hour for Wayne Talbot. How good's that? A supercharged outlaw, 202 miles an hour at 200 metres. That has absolutely just blown the bits off it. Well done to Wayne Talbot, the Talbot Vegetable Growers, 202 miles an hour. Easy, they've got enough data for the track. We'll see how they go, but gets a nice burn on the tyres, goes to half track. Both purple cars rolling forward. The Talbot car, the funny car out there in lane 1, the Max Crane equipment hire lane 1. Lane 2 is Artworks. And Christine Steffens in the rail. let's see what he can do this time, ladies and gentlemen. He's really powered in he's gone across the line there, and he's done it at 206 mile an hour pass. 206 mile an hour pass. Christine Steffens, a 422 at 166 mile an hour. 371 on a 206 miles an hour pass for Wayne Talbot. He has got quicker all day. How's that fantastic pass there for Wayne Talbot? We're back, and with us, welcome Wayne Talbot. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, sorry, hey. Laid the boots and then come in. Yeah. How are you, mate?
Good, great.
Yeah, great to have you here. Mate, Mildura for a start. How good was that?
We went there to make the numbers up, and we thought we'd do what we had to do, and we had a little bit of an agenda there with the way Outlaws is with a bottom cut-off, and Modified doesn't have one, so we thought we'd go there and try to exploit the rules and maybe show that how silly the rule actually is.
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing, as you know, like you say, you can run in Modified with no bottom cut-off, but Outlaws is different, and we really need to have more cars out there.
And they say that it's a safety issue, and if you can run Modified where there's cars going 120 mile an hour, and we ran over 200, well, it'd be safer to run against other blown cars. The other blown cars have got better safety equipment. I just think it's a rule that needs looking at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I took a screenshot of your big pass in Mildura, and I've got it here. You ran a 2:46 on your reaction times, which was pretty good. You ran a 9:81 on your 60-footer. Your half track was 2:514. Your full track was 3:715 at 206.84 mile an hour.
Well, that run there, it really didn't feel that special. The car was just my brother and Ian and Greg, they just had the car set absolutely perfectly for the conditions, and I got out the other end and I threw my gloves and helmet on the ground, and I was pretty disappointed. And they come up flashing the lights and waving and yahooing, and I've gone, what's going on, boys? And they said, you serious? You're not happy? And I said, no, it was pathetic. I said, the car felt slow. And they said, you just went a PB, and yeah, we brained them. So.
You actually felt that the other run, which was 202.
Yeah, the 202 mile an hour run, that was out of control. The car was bouncing, and it didn't feel safe. And when I let the chutes out on the second last run, the wheels were off the ground, and it was just bouncing along. But that last one was just straight down the middle.
Now, just saying that, your first run, your 202 run, was bouncy, shaking, you had to really drive it and everything. You watch Champions, and they are so smooth, they look slow. Is that what happened in your second run? Because everything, as you said, your boys got the car set up perfectly. It went like a rocket down the strip.
Well, the boys did get it set up perfect, and then I drove it right into stage. So we're actually pointing towards the centre line when we staged the car. And, I got a talking to when I got back about not driving the car properly and not watching what I'm doing. So if it had have been straight, it might have been a little bit better again.
Quicker, yeah.
But
Next time.
Yeah, no, right. What actually got you into drag racing in the first place, Wayne?
well, doing my job, I had a customer, Dominic Lupino. He was into drag racing, and I thought it was a pretty cool thing at the time. He said, come along. So I went along, and I was pretty keen. I bought a little LJ Tirana with a small block Chevy and had a bit of fun with that. Then I wanted to go blown.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go nitro front engine dragster. So I bought a front engine dragster out of Sydney at the Nitro Champs in 2008, and Peter Kapiris was running pretty strong back then, and I walked into the pits, and he I've known him a little bit from market and stuff. He told me to get in the car and go home and never come back, because he said this thing's a drug, and once you start, you're never going to stop. And I maybe should have listened to Peter.
Yeah.
Because now we're hooked, and you get that far in, even when things go wrong, you can't give it away. You look in your shed and it's just full of parts, and you just gotta rebuild and regroup and go again.
A good mate of mine hit the nail right on the head when I was in America. Steve Easton, you might know Steve, he's an Australian boy, really nice guy. He said that Someone put a needle in his arm years ago and it had barbs on it, and they injected drag racing into him, and he said he just can't pull it out, not that he really wants to. And I think that was probably about the best way that the addiction has been said. It's something, like you just said, you walk into the shed, there's parts there, you can't stop, can you?
No, they're there, and you just got to bolt them together and you can go again.
Yes, exactly. Now, the Plymouth Forever Young 2, you did 182 mile an hour pass on that a couple of seasons ago.
I think we went 190 in that.
Yeah, I think you did too, 192, pardon me, yeah, memory's not real good, but...
I ran that car in Darwin when we went up there and match raced the nitro car of the Coles family.
Yep.
And we had a ball up there. Loved it. And we went, I think we went 252 in that car, and that had a torque converter in it. And yeah, even some of the pro racers come down to see what we were about on that day. So it was that was a pretty big thing for me.
What were you running in that? What configuration? Box?
That's a Lenco drive with a billet torque converter. And it was a 511 Brad Anderson engine with a screw blown engine.
Yeah. Big Hemi from Brad.
Yeah, it was a Brad Anderson.
Yeah. They're a pretty popular engine. That's Brad Anderson. Mike Evans runs one in his Cuda now.
Yeah, well, we've gone to the Noonan-headed stuff now, the Australian company. And the Noonan stuff's been good. You haven't had any issues with the Australian-built stuff.
Your funny car, the one you're driving now, what's the from the front to the back in that one, mate?
That's got a clutch CS2, a CS1 link on that car. And the beauty of that is it's when stuff goes wrong with the car with the clutch, you can just pull it apart and you can look at it. Just a lot, I wouldn't say it's a lot more work, but it's more work at the track. But those torque converter cars, you still got to work on them when you get them home. You're pulling that transmission apart every single weekend, checking clearances. Where the clutch car, the transmission really doesn't give you grief. You pull it apart, look at a few sprags, measure a couple of things, and it's easy. Just the poor bloke at the track, he's black by the end of the day.
Yep.
I've got a guy, Ian Richards, been with me for 13 years, and it's his first season working on the car with a clutch, and he's been fantastic. He just lives and breathes it like me, and he's thinking about it at night, ringing me in the morning, and yeah, it's been good. We were working him pretty hard, changing clutches every single run. But a couple of the guys, Grant O'Rourke, told me, if you're going to keep that up, you're going to have no crew. So we've decided doing 2 runs, and now we're up to 3 on the one clutch, and we've proved that we can do it on the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, you've got great support. Your mum and dad are there, your brother's there, and your boys, Greg and the boys with the crew and everything. Every time I walk past there to say good day, bring the frogs in, you blokes are always laughing, joking, wandering around, getting things ready. It seems a pretty casual atmosphere there.
Well, I think we're pretty tight, and it might be a little bit of a disadvantage because when you try and bring a new guy in, it's just, we're a family, and you bring an outsider in. I guess they've got to start sweeping the floor because everyone's got their job, and if we bring someone in, it's like, you're taking my job. Oh, I'm not doing my job properly, and that's not a bad thing. I just won't race without Greg and Ian and Jaden.
Yeah.
Like, if any one of those 3 can't make it, we stay home because as much as I get the glory of being the driver, those guys do. Ian's strapped me in the car and Greg's making sure that engine's not blowing up and Jade's put the tune in it. So.
We spoke with Jimmy Walton at our last meeting there. Jimmy gave us the inside of sitting inside a funny car. He loved funny cars. He said you just sit inside. He said it was like being in his mother's womb. It was very comfortable. And he said, you've only got that vision and everything. He said, then it's up to you. How do you feel about that position?
Well, we have 2-way radios on the start line, and I'm kind of thinking we need to give them the flick because the boys are looking at girls and hooing in the microphone, and I'm trying to concentrate on driving the car. We had Dave Thornton give us a hand. He's one guy that gels with us all, and he's a larrikin. He causes a bit of trouble on the start line.
What rituals do you go through when you come out?
I don't go through some of the rituals like the other guys. We just sort of pretty relaxed and casual. But once that engine starts and then they lower the body down, that's when the body comes down. That's when it becomes real. The noise changes, and like Jimmy said, you can't see anything else. Your eyes are just wide open, and you're just focusing and trying to do the right job.
Can you see over your blower?
No, I can't see a thing.
So you, as Timmy, Susie's husband, Tim, good mate of yours. He drives by the fence because he can't see over his blower.
In another car, like Jim was saying about the seatbelts being loose, in a previous car I used to drive, I had to leave the seatbelt loose in Adelaide to see the tree. So it wasn't loose, but it was not as tight as you would like to have had it. And you'd have to tilt your head to the side, and it's very uncomfortable.
So just on that, you were talking about rituals before. We do have to mention that Wayne, you did use your 200 mile per hour jocks on the weekend too, didn't you?
Oh, they're gone.
Yes.
I washed them,
Yeah.
and then I said to my wife, "Where have my Bonds undies gone?" And she goes, "They had holes in them." I threw them away, and I was pretty disappointed.
He was not happy. And another thing too, also I've got a message here from Kingsley. He said because you were competing in a class on the weekend, that is actually now a track record.
Oh, thank
So
you very
you've got
much.
a track record for that as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. Good to see you, Kingsley. Having a look in too, mate.
Sorry.
So what's the next step, mate?
Do more pro alcohol rounds. I'd like to say top alcohol rounds, but got to be pro alcohol rounds if we want to compete. I got a top alcohol car, and running it in group 2 and 3 just doesn't do it justice. So I've got to jump in with the guys you sort of idolised as a kid, like Gary Phillips and Stephen Reed. Those guys, to race up with them is that's a dream come true.
Yeah, chasing your idols is a big thing, isn't it?
I'm kind of lucky enough that Gary's young enough and I'm old enough to be able to. I can't say I'm going to beat Gary, but I'd love to one day.
Yeah,
So the future, where do you see yourself travelling in the future?
I really don't know what the future holds. I'd love to one day see some nitro in the tank.
yeah.
That's an ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But who knows where that'll lead.
Hey,
No.
yeah, look, everyone's dream, isn't it, to get up to the top of the sport and everything. Mate, I think you do an incredibly good job as a driver. There's nothing of you, and I keep, we have a little bit of banter with each other and everything, and like, what do you weigh? 60, 70 kilos? There's not a lot of you, is there?
72 and a half.
Yeah. And you muscle that thing down the strip there. I admire you greatly for what you do, but I admire you even greater for your passion for the sport and the way you drag your family into it and all the people around you. And what I do love, and the fans always tell me, because I'm on the microphone all the time, they love you because you got time for them.
Yeah, if there's someone standing by the fence looking over the tables, and we've got time, we'll tell them to come through. And if we've got time, we'll stick the kids in the car. But sometimes putting the kids in the car, it worries me from time to time because there's a lot of wires and airlines and stuff. And if they're standing on them, and you go to the stage and start the car, and an airline blows off, you can lose a run. So if we've got time and it's getting, or if we're out, definitely I like to put the guys in. Even Mark's been in there for a warm up.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it's something new, isn't it, eh? Yeah. So where are you racing next, mate?
Well, at the moment we're going into our busiest time of the year with the vegetable growing type of thing. So I won't probably doing much until probably March.
Okay, yep.
If there's some local stuff comes up that I can nick off for the day or two, but the big travelling trips, tying up a truck to truck, we just don't have the resources to do it.
And you've got a few good sponsors, mate?
Not really. I've got just the family behind me, and I'm lucky enough that Fuchs jumped on board and helped me with some oil along the way because we changed the farm's oil supplier over to them, and they've been pretty helpful, giving us a bit of a deal on some racing oil.
Yep. And Mum and Dad have been with you all the way, which has been brilliant. See them at every meeting.
Yeah, they come every time. Mum bends over backwards cooking for us, and Dad stresses his.
Yeah. Hey, mate, it's been really good having you here. I know we have a lot of banter and a lot of fun together at race meetings, but I admire the way you drive and I admire your passion and your family atmosphere and everything, and what you do for the sport is brilliant. So thanks very much from all the fans and all the drag racers, mate. We love seeing you there because you're a cheeky bugger, and that's what all a part of it, isn't it? That's what it's all about, isn't it, eh?
Thanks for having me.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks,
well done, pal.
Thanks, Wayne.
Bye.
See you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Talbot.
Okay, we've just got a few comments. I just need to mention that we've got a few answers for the Fuchs backpack.
Yep.
A few of the answers are saying 5 years. That's incorrect. So keep guessing. We've got 3 winners we need to get. So keep those guesses coming through. We've also got a few people just saying hi. We've got Max and Joy and Stephanie. A couple of people who commented about the Mildura meeting, saying how great it was. There's even somebody here from Bali. So hi, Dee in Bali.
Dee Smith, the Daintree Dee. Yeah, she's over. Hi Dee, how are you, honey?
Now, just quickly before we introduce our next guest, there was a meeting on in Perth on the weekend at the Perth Motorplex. They had a nostalgia meeting. They had about over 100 really nice nostalgia cars. And we were speaking to Ray Treasurer on the weekend, and he said they did over about 600 passes.
That's excellent. Yeah.
And they had a bit of a show and shine and a few other things happening there. But just a few winners from the weekend. There was Middle Eliminator, and that was taken out by Nick Rowe over Brett Allender. Yep. Then there was the Top Gas, I think it was. Have you got that other sheet? And that was taken out by Martin Mirko over Mick Fenton. And then there was Hot Rod, which was Steve McGuinness over John Muscat. Then there was US Muscle. The winner of that was Benton Moran, and that was over Boris
Muscovich.
Yep. Street Machine was Lindsay Biddle, and the runner-up was Vanessa Ganaway. And then Oz Muscle, the winner was Ronald Pope with Jaden Rabovic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a great meeting.
Martin Mirko, current Australian champion, raced in Perth one weekend, then came over to Mildura last weekend and raced there in the Soup Sedan, the black and silver. G'day Martin, how are you? And g'day Ray Treasure, how are you mate? Haven't spoken to you for a long time.
Yeah, we had a great chat on the weekend, lovely man.
Yeah, he is a good guy, Ray. Hope everything's going well for you mate. I suppose you are, you're drag racing, so you'd be a happy man over there. So it's great, good guy. Met Ray many years ago up Mildura, and always had a lot of fun with him. Very professional in his attitude, and runs a tight show.
Runs a great show. It's a great track over there.
Runs a very good show, and hats off the Ray Treasure, that's for sure.
Excellent. Would you like to introduce our next guest?
I'd love to introduce our next guest. Our next guest happen to be Craig and Josh Baker, the fabulous Baker boys.
Welcome the Bakers.
Unfortunately for a guy before you get car, a bit of a score on the line, but he gets away a 126 mile an hour pass at 5:44. Josh Baker, washing comes out nicely. 0.75 there for Josh and 0.47 for Jake. Josh goes through the other end at a 5:40 at 126 miles an hour and a 5. 0.39 by Peter. Josh runs short 122 mile an hour and a 5:44, a 6.60. Josh Baker takes a win over Kenny Stewart. Kenny's car seemed to vibrate a little bit down the track there. Didn't give him a full pass, but a 5:42 at 120 mile an hour pass. 0.11 reaction for Josh, straight down the centre of the strip, runs a 5:46 at 124 mile an hour. Very consistent all weekend, young Josh. 5:39 reaction, 5:39 dial-in. Pete gets away. 1:13.074. Can he chase him down? This will be good. Josh Baker takes the win, a breakout to Pete O'Connell. Bad luck, Peter. 6:50 runs a 6:45. Unfortunate. But look at this, Josh, 5:42, runs a 5:43 and 0.74. Nearly a perfect run for Josh. 5:42 versus 4:78. Good reaction there, best reaction for Tim. Oh, the win goes to Chris Farrell. Double breakout, 5:42 on a 5:39 and 4:76 on a 4:78. Bigger breakout goes to... Okay, we're back here with the fabulous Baker boys. We've got Craig on the end there and young Josh here. How are you boys, and welcome to Drag Racing Central. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us in. Helen,
look,
Sue,
pleasure,
you do a
mate.
great job. I mean, we really enjoy watching the show.
Thank you.
So I'm sure
Thank
everyone
you
else
very
does.
much. Yeah, it's all Sue, it's not me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've got a message here from Stephanie Zokas. A smile for Stephanie, so she's been giving me a bit of curry. And her lovely husband. Peter, yeah. Anyway, back to twice Australian champion in modified, Craig Baker. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thanks,
That's
Alan.
good, mate. Now, you've been kicked out of your toy.
No, I'd like to tell people that Josh is just keeping the seat warm at the moment. Yeah, so I don't know if it's a long-term thing, but I mean, he's enjoying it. He's doing a fantastic job. And look, any time you can give the kids a go, why not?
Yes, exactly.
He did so well in juniors. I mean, it would have been nice to go a few more rounds, win a few more meetings, but hey, you know, jumping into my car, he's just been, you know, like a hand in a glove. He's just slides straight in, and he's doing a fantastic job. So.
Yeah, I was looking at the times. They're so similar to your times. It's just like watching, not quite sure who's in the car.
Yeah, straight off the bat. I mean, up at Swan Hill, I sort of had an idea of what the car would run, and he jumped in, and his licensing passes were pretty much right on the number. He was spot on with the reactions. He sort of got that part down pat. So I don't know if all those computer games, you know, we bagged the computer games for the kids, but Josh and Tim, they're right into their drag racing computer games, and obviously it's worked a treat as well.
Yeah, just watching, I remember your first passes at Swan Hill and everything, and one thing that really stuck out was your consistency and your never say die attitude of getting there. You're in a car that's got 7 cylinders more than you were running, and the transition between a junior to the modified was amazing. You know, you kind of helmet on in, turn the key, and bang, off you went. And you know, all credit to you. Good coaching from mum and dad.
Absolutely.
The backup support and everything's great with the family. Your beautiful mum Audrey and your young bloke Tim, young boy. But yeah, your transition was quite amazing, Josh. You should be congratulated that you kept a very, very level head all the way through, mate. So you must be enjoying it.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Just
Especially when you don't have to pay the bills, eh?
I don't know about that part.
But,
And you were just saying that you hadn't actually seen any of the footage. You were just watching it there for the first time. You actually have to go back and have a really good look at it. Yeah, you did so well. Really well up the weekend.
what's your favourite part of it, mate?
Taking off, I think.
Launch, yeah.
The delay box, just straight into it.
Yeah,
Smashing the throttle and then just holding on to the ride.
yeah. Holding on for the ride.
Exactly right.
Close our eyes and point it forward, eh?
Yep.
And you've had a fair bit of coaching with him too, mate, support. Plus, you know, they always say makey see, makey do, and the way he's been driving is the way that you've been driving for many, many years, because you've got an extra room on your house for your trophies, haven't you?
Yeah, look, he's as I say, he's taken us so on. You like to think you don't think he's watching you so much when you're out there doing your thing, but I mean, everyone needs to realise that the kids are there watching us and they're picking up on those things. And for Josh to jump in, he does exactly the same routine that I would do when I jump in the car. I do the burnout, back, clear the throttle, clear the carby, in I go. He does his breathing, all those sort of things as well. Doesn't get flustered about who's in the other lane, just runs his own race, and just it's about consistency and having those routines in place. And he's picked that up as well.
Yeah. Look, it shows too, because the way the car runs, somehow it's only the difference of helmet that we know who's racing it. I noticed that Craig and Audrey's been ripped off the side and Josh has been planted on it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
What's that?
It's not a bad thing. I'm enjoying seeing my name on the side of a car like that.
But what's next? I know this is only your first season, but where's the dream?
Oh, the dream is to one day, like everyone else, would be to race in America full time in a top fuel or in a comp car. The cars over there and the classes over there are crazy. You get hundreds of entries every meeting, and the competition over there is just insane.
Yeah.
It'd just be a dream of anyone's to race over there.
You enjoyed Mildura?
Loved it.
Yeah, you were a bit stiff on not getting up a little bit further for the day. It would have been nice, that was your first comp meeting, wasn't it?
First comp meeting,
Yeah, so the rest has been pretty good. So when you came back, naturally there's a little bit of disappointment and everything like that, but I noticed you having a bit of a chat with Dad on the way back, so the calming words from Craig.
Oh, I was just more happy about getting my PB.
Yeah,
I wasn't worried about that.
Yeah,
So he broke out, but we were the first time in that left lane, and Josh is sort of, and me as well, just realising that the car is going to run faster one lane to the other.
Yep.
We didn't have a lot of runs in that left lane,
Yep.
and we probably should have tweaked it a little bit, but Josh, he sort of had full input into the dial-in. He sort of knew what was going on, and coming up against Chris, I mean, these are quality guys that he's up against. Kenny first round. Second round was...
I had a bye second round. And
he took over Kenny's bye, and that's one of the things he's realising as well, that, you knock off those top guys and you take those buys as well. So that's always a positive.
Poor old Kenny Stewart at the last meeting, mate. He looked like death warmed up, and I saw him on Friday. He was crook with the flu, and how he raced, I don't know. But
didn't quite see him himself, so hopefully he's doing okay.
He's a lot better now. He's got a good Stella Pizza into him tonight, so he's a lot better now. But when you come back from the pitch, from your run, what's your next jobs you do then before you go out again, mate?
So as soon as we get back from a run, check the time slip to see how consistent it was to the last passes, and then pack the parachute, and then jump straight back into the tow car and take my brother Tim out, and push him back. Just a whole routine. It's what we do every meeting.
Yep.
It's what we stick to, and it's what works for us.
So there's really no time to think, is there?
Not at all.
Yeah. And
We've got so much else going on. They don't really have time to focus on.
tell me, I have trouble sleeping on the night before drag racing. How do you go?
Oh, I'm alright.
Yeah.
Just cuddle up as much as I can, get warm.
Sleep like a rock, you little shit, don't you?
Oh yeah.
You would have had an exciting weekend anyway, because you would have been out watching the Tigers.
Exactly
In
right.
the semi.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Took a lot of stress off us.
Yeah.
So.
That's right, you two are Tiger supporters, aren't you? So you've sobered up from Saturday?
Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah, we're having to come here tonight. We're missing out on watching the replay for the fourth or fifth time. So
I'm sure you can catch up tomorrow.
So how many times did Dustin Martin win the Norm Smith, mate?
How many times? He's won it twice.
Yeah, but how many times since the weekend has he won it?
Every time we watch it, he seems to win it.
Did you win any money on the replays?
No, you don't, unfortunately not. But it's still as much cheering and high-fiving,
Yeah. Now, getting back to the real sport of drag racing.
Oh, of course.
Now, your next meeting is Perth Motorplex, which is round 4 at the Golden States on November 4th. You going to that?
Bit of a long trip, isn't it?
It is a fair haul. Then there's Adelaide International, the Decker Glass Flashbacks Road Memorial on the 23rd of November. Interested in that one?
That'll actually, I've said no to Josh on that.
Sorry?
I've said no to Josh on that because Audrey and I are actually off on a bit of a holiday over to Geraldton and Perth. Josh wanted to take the car out on his own, and look, I wouldn't have a problem. I think Josh is quite mature enough to be able to do it, and he'd be able to run the car. But I've said to him, look, why don't you have a bit of a break? And the meeting after that is back out of Portland.
Yes.
And it's only 2 weeks after that. So I said, mate, have a bit of a break. If you want to go over and watch some of your friends, because he's got a lot of mates in drag racing. Nicholas Karanovic is one of his best mates. He'll go over and spend some time with him. Or any of the other guys that he sort of grew up with in juniors. He'll always have that opportunity as well to spend some time with them. But at this point in time, probably it'd be good for him just to sit one out.
Yeah, fair enough.
And have a think about it. I mean, you don't have to do everything in the first year of competition.
Exactly.
Take it step by step, and take it easy.
Yeah, wise words, Sue. You sit back, a little of observation and everything, just calm it down, otherwise you get yourself into a bad habit,
Well, it's not the be-all and end-all, I mean, obviously our goal is to win race meetings, win the Christmas trees and take out a championship at some point, but gee, you're young, you've got so much to look forward to.
Exactly right.
Exactly, and with the new Andrew calendar, there's so much racing that's going to happen. That one meeting, let's say worst case, you might go first round, there's 20 points, sort of you drop on everyone else. It's a long season and you're sort of aiming for that 300 or the majority, the most points you can. So it's not the end of the world, and I'm trying to sort of tell Josh that as well.
Yes.
From a cost point of view, we can't afford to go to every single meeting. I mean, we do the best we can with what we've got. And we've always done that. We run a pretty tight ship. So, there's going to be those meetings now and then that we're just going to have to decide, will we go or will we miss this one and go on to the next one?
But a great start. I mean, you would have got 60 points on the weekend for that first meeting. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, is it?
No, not at all.
It's currently sitting third in the points. So
that's exactly right.
Yes, that's right. We were. I mentioned that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
We've got Portland in December, and then again round 6 in December, and round 7 at Portland again in January. So, you're going to make both those, or
yeah, we'll definitely be at both of those.
Yeah.
I mean, They're meetings that the cars, for whatever reason, does really well at, and I'm sure Josh, as a driver, will do well. He'll certainly have the equipment there to do it. There shouldn't be,
You've had a lot of luck personally down at Portland, haven't you? You took out the November meeting with a tree, then the following year the same meeting with another tree.
That's right, the South Coast 660 Nationals, and they were emotional meetings for us for different reasons. So, with obviously the meeting back in January this year, with everything that we'd gone through with Audrey, Josh's mum, it had been a pretty tough year. So it was an opportunity for us to just basically sit back and enjoy what we love doing with the people we love being around. And the meeting the year before that was only a week or so after Mum had passed away. So, it was very special to us as well.
Look, you're going to Portland, so Josh, big shoes to fill there, mate.
Yeah, I've asked Dad if he wants to take over that meeting because I know it's his meeting, but he's pretty keen on me driving that weekend. So
you don't want him to come home for another tree and you haven't.
Yeah, exactly right.
Look, it's a great little track down there. How Smithy does that track in freezing weather and wet and everything, and still gets cars to grip is just beyond. They do a fantastic job down there, the Portland boys. And not only do they do a great job, they're a good bunch of blokes too. And the ladies down there are gorgeous. So it's a beautiful part about drag racing. Anywhere you go, you meet new people and make new family. So. How are you going at school and stuff, mate?
I've actually finished year 12, so I'm happy to have finished that. Now it's on to real life and getting on with everything.
What's the plans there? You're planning to go to uni? You're planning to have some time off?
At the moment, I just want to take a bit of a gap year.
Yes, yeah.
In February, Dad and I are heading off to Pomona to watch the first round of the NHRA series.
Sounds like a great gap for you to start with.
Yeah,
Yes.
so Dad's first meeting. It'll be great. We're just going down for a week just to watch, see how it is, and then as I come back, I'll start to work. At the moment, I'm just working at Coles, so just saving up a bit of money, then see what I want to do after that.
Yeah. The drag racing in America, mate, is just amazing. One, the population. The meeting I went to at Dragway 42 was just an ordinary meeting with 280 entries. And it blows your mind. And the year before at Norwalk, there was 540 entries. And we look at our population per capita of drag racing over here. We probably maybe have 3,500, 4,000 drag races. They got 300,000 over there because of their population. So everywhere you go is a big meeting. A small meeting for them is 250 cars. So that Pomona meeting will be an eye-opener for you, mate, when they've got a pit that's as big as Altona itself,
Yeah, exactly right.
Quite amazing place, yes, Susie?
Yeah, and I was just going to say thank you so much for coming along tonight. And I also just want to do a shout out to Audrey, hi Audrey, and to Tim, because there is another Baker boy.
Right.
And Tim did very well on the weekend
He
as
did.
well. So thank you so much for coming along. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your evening to spend with everybody. And is there anything else?
Two people, these are my adopted family. Yeah, I've adopted them all. They still got to pay their own bills though. But I love Craig and I love Audrey and the boys. You two are great ambassadors for the sport. You've got a beautiful family, beautiful wife, and the Baker clan is just a lovely people. When you adopt a family, you adopt a good one, all right? So this young bloke here, I've watched him grow up. We've had a lot of fun together, we're hung shit on each other a lot and everything like that. But it's all been good fun, and I admire you, and I admire your dad and your mum and your younger brother. So
Look,
congratulations.
can I also say, Alan, the work you guys do, Alan, Mark behind the camera there, Sue yourself, your promotion of drag racing in Australia, we all appreciate enormously what you guys do. And we probably don't say it enough, but we really appreciate everything you guys do as well. So it's fantastic to have you guys on board and promoting the sport.
Thanks,
it means a lot to all of us.
Yeah, thanks. I can speak on behalf of Mark and Jesse and Susie, myself, Lisa Sherry. We do it for one reason. We absolutely love it. And it's a passion, and what hair I've got left stands up on the back of the head at every drag meeting. So thanks very much for that. I really appreciate that. And good luck to you, all right?
Thank you so much.
Good on you, buddy.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks for having us along, Ellen. Sue, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming. The Baker Boys.
Right, now, our next next panellist, we need to
Got
call up Pete.
Peter Alexander.
Just while Pete comes up, maybe we should just go through the Andrew calendar too that's been announced, because it's actually a really good calendar that come out. It did take a while to get to us, but it was announced at the summit meeting in Mildura the other day.
Yeah, Brett came out very proud, and so he should be.
Yep.
He said the calendar was out, that he came out the next morning and said there's an attachment.
Another one.
All the better. He had spoken to Smithy and the boys down in Portland, and I think they had either dropped in the December meeting or dropped into the January meeting.
I think it was the December meeting. So, as you were saying before, the next round is at the Perth Motorplex on November the 9th, which is the Golden States. Then we have round 5 in Adelaide, so it's great to see Adelaide back in there having another meeting.
Adelaide International.
So that's the Roe Memorial, which is normally at Calder, but it's having it at Adelaide this year. So that's November the 23rd. Round 6 is the Portland one, the South Coast Raceway, on December the 14th and 15th. Round 7 will again be at Portland at South Coast Raceway on January the 11th and 12th. Round 8 is at Calder Park on February the 1st and the 2nd. Round 9 is at Perth Motorplex for the Western Nationals on February the 29th and March the 1st. That's a little bit later this year than what it normally is. And then round 10 will be back at Mildura for the Twilight Nationals on March the 13th and 14th. And then the grand final will be back at Adelaide again, which will be really good to see. So March the 28th and 29th for that.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic to see AIR, Adelaide International Raceway, coming back in. That was the first track I ever saw drag racing at.
Me too, absolutely.
The addiction started at Adelaide International,
mine
so very
too.
soft spot for that place. But Mildura, the Sunset, etc. like that. Look at this, February 29, March 1. We've got a leap year next year.
Yeah, we do. And then it's 2 weeks later we'll be back at Mildura, and then it will be 2 weeks after that to the grand final.
Exactly.
And then I think it's 2 weeks after that, and it'll be Easton, the supercharged shootout. So.
Yeah, it will be another big one.
Here comes Pete.
We've also, this weekend, we've got the first round of the Charlie Dennis Club Championships at Whyalla on the 6th of October. I'm going to that, surprisingly.
There you go.
Peter. And you've got a report for us, mate?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we went up to Kenda, up at Willowbank.
Yep.
And it went off. It was the biggest and best meeting that they've had. It's first of all numbers. It's grown steadily. We've been going for 3 years now. First year I went, it was at about 125 cars. Then went to 141. We had 161 this year.
Wow. Excellent.
So it's steadily on the grow.
Yeah.
Ben Bray was smashed the Holy Grail, the 3 second 200 mile an hour pass, and then backed it up. He and Wade Wagstaff were battling it out in the 3 second range. It was a meeting for personal bests. Cars just I don't know. It was just full on. It was absolute mayhem as the records were tumbling and people were PBing, and they'd switched to the unleaded fuels. Hasn't slowed the radial cars down. There were guys going faster, making more power on these new unleaded fuels than they were making previously on Route 16 and etc.
That's interesting.
So guys like Simon Krieger, he set the fastest nitrous time now. He's gone 4:34 in a Tirana with nitrous. God, he's got more kits of nitrous on that than most rational people would have, but you know, anyway, it works. And so to get back to it, Terry Singh was driving Kyle Hop's Camaro, which is, it's a bit of a storied history to that car, but it's running a Hemi in it now, turbo Hemi. That went 385 at 196 miles an hour. Didn't quite make the 200, but not for lack of trying, I can tell you. But Ben Bray, his first pass, I think he went a 4.0 at about 190, and we all thought, oh, he's going to battle. But then he got on top of it very quickly.
Yeah.
And he made it look dead easy. But he did say when he was up for when he got the awards for, because there was a cash award for doing 200 and a 3-second pass in the one. He did say that he was overwhelmed by the amount of help that he got from other radial racers to set the car up to get things right. On the Friday night, for something different, they had what they called the Kenda Combat Series, which was $15,000 in prize money, 3 brackets, $5,000 cash in each, which was Outlaw Radial, Outlaw 275 and 235 tyre cars. So Steve Bazzina cleaned up in Outlaw 275 in his car. God, now I'm trying to remember who actually. It escapes me as to who the other two were, but they were. Well, I have got it written down somewhere, but I can't find it at the moment.
How good was the track up there?
Oh, they flew out this American to do the track, a different guy to Tyler Crossno that we've had in the past. He came out, he had a slightly different style of doing it, but it was super sticky, and it was actually, there was something different in his track prep, because once again we had to re-alter our burnouts to get, because it was that sticky, they were pulling the engines down.
Right.
For us, that's
where did he come from, mate? Any idea of which track and which locality?
He's an independent. He sort of floats around.
Oh, okay.
He actually drew up the design for the Kenda series. Now they have their own tyre rotator.
Yeah.
And they have their own golf buggy set up for spraying the glue. Mm-hmm. And that's exclusively for Kenda events.
Yeah.
It's not for anything else.
Yeah, right.
And talking to one of the Sydney track guys that was up there looking at it all, he was actually pretty jealous about the tyre rotator.
Yeah.
Because he said the one that Sydney used, they changed the tyres in around about an hour and a half, whereas the new design that this one is about a 40-minute tyre change. Mm-hmm. A lot quicker, simpler to use.
Yeah.
And he feels it actually does a better job.
Right. Yeah.
So it's the latest and
greatest.
Yeah. So
3 or 4 tyre.
Sorry.
3 or 4 tyres.
Four
Yeah, so
tyres.
yeah.
And this American, he was on it all the time. The moment he thought it was the slightest bit off, he'd just stop racing and he'd do a bit of prep.
Yeah.
So everyone always got an equal opportunity with his preparation.
Yeah, that's excellent. The beauty about bringing another person in is the Logan boys, they will pick up something and it makes their job better. They recognise it. I think it's magic when things like that happen.
Yeah, well, the Sydney track guy who was there actually said to me that at the motel that he picked up a few little things that he did differently, that this American was doing differently, that he's going to take back and implement at Sydney. Yeah. So it's good when the knowledge is getting spread. There's no little secrets, it's out there for people to use the knowledge.
That's right, learning, anything for the betterment of drag racing. That's what it's all about,
It was overall, it was a massive event. It was just non-stop.
That's good.
And we hit the wall, but you do these things. I did a big wheel stand and felt like the rear shock gave way a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was in the groove, and then all of a sudden I was aiming for the wall with wheels in the air.
Much damage?
We're still assessing it, but I think we'll probably get out of it with shocks and new tyres all around and rims and.
So you're not back to the 2-minute noodles yet?
We will be. Yeah. We'll be on 2-minute noodles and baked beans on a Sunday night.
Nothing wrong with baked beans, mate, is there? Eh?
Oh no. But in upcoming events too, we've got Warwick Nabil, for the for this coming weekend for the off-street drags out there. And the other radial event that's going to happen is February 22 will be the No Excuses radial event at Ballarat Airport.
Right.
Which is the next big thing for Victorians to look forward to.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there just doesn't seem to be. We just seem to not be able to generate the groundswell of support we need.
Yeah.
I was talking to Victorian racers up there about, pushing for a track here, and it always came back to the same tired old argument, oh, will the car hold my track? Will the track hold my car? And I said to a couple of people, well, A, you have to take your car to the track, and B, it's up to you to tune it.
That's right, yeah. It's not up to the track.
It's not just up to the track, it's up to you as a driver to know your car well enough and get it out there and have a crack.
Yes.
And that's the only way that we'll get a foothold in Victoria.
Yeah. And one of our guests a little bit later in the evening, he's got 50 odd years of experience, and he helped a car go down our track at Swan Hill, and nearly 190 mile an hour, and he turned around, he just gave me a wink, and he said, "That's how you set a car up." I thought, yep, it's easy for you to say, you've 50 years of experience, but that's it, you've got to know the conditions of your track, you've got to know how your car's going to act to those conditions, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
But I did want to say to a big shout out to David Hillman and Stretch Martin for when we hit the wall. They were over at our pit within a matter of minutes, and they did a 3-hour round trip to go and get me a set of front runners. And while David measured the rear of the car, made sure everything was still square and everything was still safe to go out there. Mm-hmm. Simon O'Carroll offered any help that he could. The sportsmanship up there, that what you get from the other races, they just come over and they just wanted to know. And the common theme I got was, you Victorians have travelled too far to not race.
Yeah.
They were determined to get us back out on the track.
Beautiful, isn't it? That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's very humbling when you get guys like that who you see once a year, and they go out of their way to do stuff for you like that.
Come over and grab a spanner with you. Yeah. Look, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And we talk about the passion of the sport. It's not only the cars, it's the people.
Yes.
And without the people, you don't have the sport. You can certainly leave cars anywhere, but the people we meet through our sport are just family.
Yes.
Easy as that, isn't it? When we look at them.
It is, absolutely.
But one of the things you mentioned last week about, the last time we were on, about the dark horses, and I was a bit cagey about that, and as it proves, with good reason, because a few of the dark horses didn't turn up.
Oh, okay,
and the guys who were on it were well and truly on it. The Simon Krigers, Simon O'Carroll, Tim Cross, guys like that, they were just... This new unleaded fuels posed no problems.
We were just trying to force you into making a decision about it, mate, to see how you'd go. Trying to nick their heads a little bit for you.
I had a couple of cars in mind, but they didn't front because of business, running their businesses, etc. Which of course got to take priority. But
you can mention their names and walk past and go like this to them.
Hopefully we'll see them in Canberra, in Sydney for the next meeting.
So that's all on your report tonight, mate. Yeah,
yes,
things are pretty good, and your car's going to be back in shape soon. And
we're not pushing it. We're going to rewire the car. We're going to do a few other things.
Yeah.
So not fussed at the moment. It'll be off the track for a while. We've got my son's Mustang to play with. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, well, that's good. That's excellent.
We'll do that.
All right, Pete. Good on you, mate.
No worries.
Nice to see that you've got friends with your car and everything, and you've got your boys' car to play with too, mate. Yeah.
No worries.
All right, good on you, Peter Alexander. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, where's our little bag? We have 3 winners.
We
Would
have.
you like to read the 3 winners out?
We have David White. Good on you, David. We have Kingsley Cookle. Good on you, Kingsley. Stephanie Zokas. That poor lady. Of the winners of the Fuchs Pack. And the extension on the contract was for 2 years.
Correct,
yeah,
2 years.
Kingsley, I will bring your bag up tomorrow with me, mate, so I can drop that in personally. Dave White and Stephanie Zokas, we will get their bags to them.
Yes, Amanda and Kingsley will contact you. We'll get those sent to you.
Zokas, Peter, we know where you live.
Right.
Right.
Our next panellist
we've got our next panellist. Would you like to introduce our next panellist?
Ash, come on up, Ash.
Here we go, another big burnout there from Ash Haley. Look at this, and Steve Biggs. Look at this. Go Ash.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks.
How are you?
G'day mate, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, you all right?
How was Sydney?
Big question.
Mate, I reckon Sydney was the best meet I've been to in Australia, hands down.
Wow.
It had its dramas and its setbacks, but I said Sydney to me it's always had no soul as a track. You know, the Willowbanks and Quarter's got all this history, whereas Sydney's still, it's got no soul. I was like James Brown there on Saturday. No, it was great. It was really good. Just to have those guys there, just changed the atmosphere and everyone was buzzing and
Came alive.
oh, that was great. And I walk into the, there's Ron Hope and Brandy Bradford and all these guys that I had up on my wall as kids that are, just down the road. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
it's quite amazing when you actually do meet an idol, isn't it?
Yeah.
It blows your mind. I'm 62, mate. Seeing Tom over there and Jimmy the other week. Oh, Jimmy, what a blind of an interview that
He's
was.
a ripper.
But mate, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, there was 10 fuel altereds, so 4 Americans, 2 New Zealanders, and the other made up by Cowan Stable. I got a phone call, start of the year, to see if we could get a group of gases to go up there as a support bracket for it.
Yep.
I wanted to make the event as diverse as possible. So he goes, can you do that? I said, I reckon I could convince a few guys to go there and raise with some fuel alters, but and we ended up with 34, so
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
Excellent.
Amazing.
It was great. They had a serious accident. One of the Elkie funny car guys hit the wall and that put him way back, like over an hour. It was a fairly big hit and they never recovered from that. And then the rain set in just before the altered finals. I had to pull the pin on it. But other than that, the track prep was the best I've ever been on, and everyone, multiple PBs everywhere, everyone you talk to. So whether the air was good as well, I don't know. I don't check that stuff. I just go down. It was great.
You run.
That's it. There's talk of a rematch next year, so hopefully because it was a great success, the crowd was there, which they say it's a real struggle to get a crowd in Sydney. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's like, why aren't you here? But they came for that. There was in excess, they reckon about 400 New Zealanders came over just to watch.
Good.
Other tracks you probably need to take notice and think that, it's an expense, but geez, it paid off for them and they were happy with it, the 2020 rematch has already been spoken about, and I'm hanging, I'm straight in.
Any timeline on that? Are they?
No.
No, not yet.
It's just it's on the rumour mill, but they come out of the Aeroflow stable, so we'll see.
Very good. Let's hope.
Yeah, like I said, I met all the guys and we all painted up some helmets and got them to sign it, all that sort of stuff. But Randy Bradford, I'd never met him before, and he's an elderly gent. He'd be well in his 70s and still drives the pants off that car. And it's a small tyre. It's not a big, and it's a little tiny little thing. It's about 110-inch wheelbase.
Oh, wow.
And he took it to Cowan's cars, and everyone said Cowan, they'll romp it in. Old Randy drove around him a couple of times. He was 2 for 2 and really steered it. It was just the best thing to watch. This is a little feet with no wings, with a little Donovan 417, small pump, top end, everyone, just crazy. It's really good. Yeah, the job was buzzing. It was really good.
Yeah.
And another thing, they were that humble and so happy to be there, and like they couldn't believe it. Like it's like their dream had come true to come and race for us. So,
Oh, beautiful.
they race fairly cheaply over there. It is, as compared to us to run a fuel car, it's ridiculous. But for those guys, it's just the parts are just around the corner, and you go and get it, and away you go. Everyone there, it's a wealth of knowledge, and it's not as hard as what it is here. And I think for them to come here and see the appreciation from all of us up by the way. It's very humbling for them, so it's good. Yeah.
No, it's just mind-blowing when you see what comes out of the States, isn't it, you know, and what you see in the States, you know, when you're in the States and everything like that, you walk around like a kid in a lolly shop, don't you?
Yeah, your jaws always on the floor. And
Just a quick notice, I just see young Andrew Chessel sitting over there. He's turned up for a peach and a couple of beers. Good to see you, mate. Got the back brace off and everything. You're looking really fine. Still there? Yeah. So you going back to jogging yet or not? Yeah. Good on you, mate. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right in what you say, that they have it on their doorstep and they do take it for granted. Like when you go there, they just think it's nothing to drive a fuel car. And I go, oh yeah, it's just a hot rod. No, it's not. It's the damn coolest thing I've ever seen. But anyway, yeah, they don't get it. But like I said, crack a meeting and I can't wait to go hit the 2020 version.
I'm just watching you bubble in, mate. You know, and I don't know what your age is or something like that, but I love seeing people just bubble over when they see something like that, and the passion that comes out of you in the sport you absolutely adore. And, you know, it's just passion. And you look around the room here, and everyone's involved in drag racing. And we do it because it makes us bubble. You know? You're like a little kid with a sparkler. Look at this. You know? It's
The other thing I'll
fantastic.
say, it was such a shame that it was on a weekend when there was another drag racing event on, because so many more people would have gone to Sydney to watch it.
Yeah.
So let's hope if it does happen next year that we can all go.
But that had been booked a year out, you know, so
Yeah.
it had been there for a while. Yeah, it is unfortunate too, because like I said, you guys missed out, and there's so many that would have gone.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get there. We still had a good time in Mildura, though.
Yeah,
It would have been nice to get there.
Sure you would. Yeah, that's it.
You've got a special guest, mate.
I do. And another, like I said, I've altered my passion. I grew up idolising this guy as well and watching him do his crazy things. So get the old legend Tommy Easton over here. I'll shove over. We'll get Brian in here too. He's got a better memory than Tom, apparently.
I don't know if that's going to help.
Probably not.
Another chair.
Will me. Number 6. For the bloke that looks like me.
How should are these young blokes?
These fine young gentlemen is Tom Easton and Brian Easton.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Good to see you again, Tom.
No worries, mate. All good.
How you been, mate?
Crook as a bloody dog. Went to Sydney on the bus last weekend and someone had a lurgy and I've been filling up with pills and stuff, so today I'll come good.
You've come good today, just for today, eh?
Just in time.
You didn't get a Crook ice cube on the bus, did you?
It may have been, but I don't know.
Or a dirty glass or something like that, you know?
It could have been anything.
That bus is it's brought a few men down.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them asleep on it on Facebook posts.
Yeah, I've got a couple in my phone actually that haven't made it yet.
What was it? A pensioner's bus?
Yes. Yes.
Tom and Brian, welcome to Drag Racing Central, and thank you both very much for joining us here. As you know, Tommy, our last Drag Race Central, we had the great Jimmy Walton here, and Jim just went for nearly an hour telling us about stories. We all could have sat here for 6 hours listening, mate. So
Yeah,
we
awesome.
thought, get you down here because the experience you've had, I remember seeing you at Heathcote, I remember seeing you at Adelaide and everything in those special shorts you used to wear. And, and actually, if you go onto the internet, you'll find yourself in those blue shorts too, mate. There's a couple of nice shots.
Before the blue ones were red. Very popular.
Straight out of a 70s porn magazine.
Amongst mainly women, but we
So
won't
Warwick-
go in anymore.
Warren Capper wasn't the first one, was he?
No way. Yeah,
Mate,
he
you
was
got-
just a show-off.
You got a fair bit of history about you, mate. Where did you start?
I started like probably most of us did with streetcars. And yeah, thank you, Nipper. I had a very quick FJ Holden that used to embarrass 2D Falcons. Then built a HD Holden with a Chev in it.
Yeah.
And that ran best of 13 at 115 on little Bridgestone Street radials. Nothing like what we got now, the sticky stuff. Had ladder bars under it, and that was about all. And I destroyed that at the finish line effectively with an explosion from the pressure plate. And pieces of pressure plate went through brake lines. Go for the handbrake. Yeah, okay, that's gone. There's a guy at turn 1 waving people around the corner as to which way to go, and he's in the middle of the racetrack. I'm doing over 100 mile an hour, and I go to blast the horn to get out of my way, and he's got no idea. I missed him by inches, and a piece about yay big bounced from under the car. Remember the Coca-Cola tower?
Yep.
Went straight through the Coca-Cola tower, knocked a stud out of the wall, and there was an official standing right behind it. And it knocked it this far back out of the wall. If the stud hadn't have been there, he would have no longer been a stud. So, yeah, but that was the beginnings, and that I always say to people that was probably the start of the legend with the braking area, because I used all of that up back then in that car. And we used to go to the circuit race and sneak in the back way, because people said, how do you know where to go? I said, well, I used to sneak in with the circuit race and watch the guys like Beachy and Janey and all those. So I had to rebuild that car, and in '82 I bought a rolling car off Murray Anderson, and I put a small block Chev in it with Crower injection on it, and that chassis was built by Brian Ball, a dragway engineer, and he's gone now, bless his soul. Awesome welder, chassis builder, unreal. And then I built the second car in 1992, so yeah, 10 years later, at Murray Anderson's workshop. I drew up the plan, which is in the trusty book. Anna put all this together. It's just amazing. Anyone that wants to have a look at it later, without tipping drinks on it. Yeah, so I drew up. I was good with drawing and tech drawing and all that sort of stuff, and drew up the plan. We built it in Reynolds tubing, so it's the first Reynolds car in this country. Yep. And just went on from there. He cut the hoops for the roll cage and the top rails, and I cut all the rest of the bars, made the levers, made the foot pedal, all that sort of stuff.
But it was still a Murray Anderson car, right?
That's pretty much why I mention it. And I front halved, well, the original car I front halved because I wheel stood it at Heathcote, and it crashed down, and the first thing I looked at was the sky. And then when it hit the deck, all the so-called experts said that I never got out of the throttle, but I did for about that long. And it caved it in, and wheels were like this, and I still ran it through. I think it was a 9-second pass at 178 mile an hour or something.
Well, I've actually got it on, I've saved that video on the phone.
Oh, very good.
It shows you how high you went. And I think in one of the front pages of your book there, you're actually showing the car up there. You're checking the car park behind you, up that high.
Just about, yeah. You frame by frame it, and the rear tyres have actually left the ground. So yeah, it was close to tipping over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
It sticks out in my mind, that photo, because it was an epic photo, and it was just everywhere. Every magazine you had.
Winkler's the one that caught that.
He's the lucky one.
And if the next time you go to the sign-in store at Calder, there's a shot of it at the wall at the back, and might have been helping Andrew, I'm not sure, or Gary, either. My favourite line nowadays is I sign in as a crewman, and I just say, yeah, people used to queue up for this. Yeah. And they go, why is that? So I tell them a little story. But that particular one, I said, that picture up there, that's me. No, it's not. So, yeah, it is. and eventually convinced them that it was. So they dragged me in and I autographed it.
I've been trying to pinch that for probably near on 20 years.
You and pretty much everyone else has seen it, I think. It's a great photo.
It is, isn't it?
It is a fabulous shot, actually.
Yeah, right place. But no, that was a heyday. That when we unloaded the car off the trailer, that was 84 Nationals, I think. 84 Nationals, and I just got the car running pretty quick. Had a glide behind it. When we unloaded it off the trailer, one of the brackets got caught on the edge of the trailer with the very uneven grounds at Heathcote. So, not having a go at Heathcote.
No,
and
just do it a bit closer to the microphone.
And we were queued up with hundreds and hundreds of entrants. So we're waiting, and Nipper's gone, well, what are we going to do? I said, when we go through scrutineering, we'll go down to the shed. They've got a welder down there, and we'll weld it up and bolt them back on. Well, it got so late, we had to do a pass, or we'd have missed qualifying, and that was the result.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably that was in the top 10 best wheel stands in the country, and probably still is.
Yeah. Do you remember who was in the other lane with you?
Yeah, the old guy that drove the bus last weekend. Peter Clark. Yeah, I scared him a few times. I broke an axle against him one time and sort of almost touched wheels. Got very sideways with a broken axle. He got out, reckoned I was crazy.
Well, one of your nicknames, or the nickname, is the Wild Man.
Yeah,
It always has been, and always the announcers. I can still hear Gerald McDonald now going, "Here comes the Wild Man," and you know. And you always put on a good show. You were crazy.
It was funny. A lot of racers that I spoke to over the years always said as soon as they heard Tommy Easton coming out, they would come to the fence to watch.
Yeah.
Peter Ridgway was one in particular. Lots of them, but Peter, I really had a lot of admiration for with what he'd done over racing and the drama he went through when his legs got smashed and all that, you know, and the way he came back. But yeah, I was a little bit chuffed when he said he used to run to the fence to watch, but a lot of them did. It was a case of it's going to be a fast run or it'll be backwards and sideways, whatever. Something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah. So,
There's another legend that is, you touched on it earlier with the HD, but more often than not at Caldy you'd find yourself past that last turn off, and they never had sand traps, and there was just two gates and paddock. And you'd end up out there and they actually put a sign on that gate, Tommy Easton Drive, and it's still there.
Yeah, I've been told, I don't know whether Pistolides put it back up, I know it was on the ground, but whether Pistol Pete put it back up or not, I don't know, but yeah, that all came about, i.e. with the HD all those decades ago, and then I changed the front wing on the car, and it was still with a big block Chev in it, running 7.0s and nearly 190 mile an hour, 188.9 or something it was. And the first qualifying run I did was against David Hawke from Adelaide, and he was one of the top runners from Adelaide, and this big front wing on it, I thought, because it was starting to wander around a bit, and I thought, I've got to keep this front steady. Well, what it did, it changed the total airflow over the car and created a vacuum at the back of it. I was always early with the parachute, always hit the lever early, go through, run it, and Clarkie's a little bit slow at the line, but anyway, he surged ahead of me because it's a much quicker dragster, and I hit the chute and nothing happens. Oh, this ain't good. Start feeding the brake, the car starts this bouncing like a basketball. This is at nearly 200 mile an hour, remember? And it's bouncing because of the braking area is not real flash, never has been. And of course, it starts pivoting like this on the front wheel, so I go, I've got to ride this, and I just locked hands and kept the steering straight, and then ended up way down in the boondocks. They towed me back, and when I got back, and I've never heard, all the years, and Nipper will know this, never heard Hawkey swear. Yeah. Is it all right if I swear?
Not quite.
Not quite? I'll just I'll just go the F-bomb. So Hawkeye comes up to me and he said, Easton, you're effing crazy. Your car was 3 foot off the air because it's bouncing along. And he shook his head and stormed off. And I've gone, but Dave. And I didn't understand why he was so pissed at me. And I spoke to the crew chief later, Mike Stewart. Yeah, feel sad for him. And anyway, I said to Mike, what's the deal? What's wrong with Dave? He said, you scared the shit out of me. So, yeah, so every pass thereafter, we've got, they give me a shoot warning. I said, guys, I'm there doing what I normally do, you know, I hit the lever early. I can't see what's going on behind me. I've changed that front wing, that's the only thing that's different. So we've got strings tied up to the wing off the pilot chute and tape over the wheelie bars and all this sort of caper. And next pass, first round. I wasn't going to do another qualifier. And first, I can't remember who I ran. Get past them, click it early, same deal, bouncing, And they go, what's going on here? I said, look, someone's got to watch down the bottom end. So at the end of the evening, and the third pass was in the dark, there's more officials at the finish line than there was at the start line to watch this crazy man get in this car knowing it's not going to stop. 200 mile an hour, thereabouts, and just going for it. And the very last run I did, I lost by fair dinkum this much. And it's pitch black, and I was the width of this table from the wire fence at the railway line. So this has used up the whole lot of it because I drove it all the way. And I'm standing there waiting for the fireys, and it was very eerie because it was all dust and you've got the red lights, and I was always thankful for the officials and the fireys and the crews and all that sort of stuff, which sort of saved me grief because they were always happy to try and drag me out of the car if something was wrong. Anyway, they screamed to a halt and I yelled out to him, I said, how quick was it? Because it felt really good. And he's got on the two-way, this crazy man wants to know how quick it went. And it was the fastest it had ever gone. It went 7:00. And I think 190 mile an hour, which made it, and Brian told me a while ago, it may still stand, I don't know, but the quickest all-iron engine big block in the country. Yeah. And that was way back then, so, but yeah, that was why Betsy's decided, look, we've got to do something about this, we've got to put a sign up the end, and that's when they called it Tommy Easton Drive. Yeah. So every time I came out, open the gates, Tommy's coming. So yeah, the legend just grew.
Good legend to have anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun when it was happening, but
no, I won't tell you what they call me, but yeah. No, that's good stories, mate. That was still the first altered, wasn't it?
That was the first car, and it was after that race meeting, and Brian went crook at me. Run it again, because we wanted to run a 6 in it. Yeah. And I believe it would have done it too, but had to sort out the stopping problem. And I went to Murray. I said, what do you reckon's going on? He said, I don't know what's going on. And I spoke to every fast older driver in the country, no idea. And I happened upon a video run of engine blow-ups from the States with funny cars. And this funny car's gone through the finish line, exploded the engine, blew the body clean off the car and left the nose cone on it. And it started doing exactly what my car did, and I've gone far out. And I raised the wing this much higher, and no more problems. Yeah. Then in 92, so that was around about that time, I built the new car. And that just handled like a pig because Murray'd only put 10 degrees in the front end, which is fine for a funny car, but not for an old. You've got to have minimum 14 layback, and that made all the difference. I crashed the car at Heathcote. Yes. That was a big crash. the time card still read 176 mile an hour after I cleaned up the wall. I was running used bits, stuff that normally you wouldn't run, and I split the block right down the middle at 3/4 track, and it just spat the rocker covers off. So it was like someone threw a bucket of oil over me, and oil on the slicks, sideways, backwards, and I was fortunate that I knew there was no one in the other lane. So here I am, blind, wipe the visor, back, go back. Yeah, I reckon I got it. Bang, I got it all right. Hit the wall about 30-degree angle, ripped the left-hand side off it. And of course, the dirt spat up and gone all over the visor. And I've gone, oh, I'm on fire with the dirt. So I got out of it as quick as I did, and I got a little scratch on the wrist because I was in much of a hurry to get out of the car. Got caught on the brake lever, and then fell on the ground in a heap. But yeah, that took a while to get that back together.
What actually got you into altereds, mate?
Always
Stupidity.
Simple as.
can't argue with that logic. No, always. In '76, I did a trip to the States, and I always liked the look of an altered. I liked hot rods as a general deal, and myself, Teddy Sedgman, Brian Bull, who I mentioned earlier, went together on this trip with Stomper at Travel Air Tours in '76, and I went to Ontario Raceway, which is now a car park, and an altered, and anyone that knows altereds, and you'll know this name, Soup and a Nook was running, and Soup and a Nook was for raffle. You'd buy a raffle ticket and you could win Soup and a Nook, and I still remember the numbers. It ran a 666 at 213 mile an hour in 1976. So I remember saying, I can't remember who I was with on the hill now. I said, man, I want to go that quick. I want to do that. And surpassed it big time.
Yeah, that's quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
666,
Yeah.
the devil's number.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I remember it, the devil's number.
Pretty easy to remember.
That David Howe was driving the car.
Yeah.
Or Hoff, or
Whatever,
however they pronounce his name over there. Yeah. They used to run that vehicle against fuel funny cars and have the occasional win too. Very, very quick older. But yeah, that was one of the catalysts. So that's what we did.
They bite you.
They bite you. The beauty of them is they're a light car. They have no downforce, which is not a lot of fun, but you set up a proper rear wing, and I'll spit it out, and you need a good front wing.
Yep.
It's absolutely crucial when you start going fast, and I mean up around 200 mile an hour, got to have a good nose cone on it.
Yeah.
Got to have canard wings on it and the whole deal. I effectively copied Burnett's car.
Yep.
Burnett's car was the fastest car in the world by far. Ran 580s in that consistent. I'd helped him at one event in Melbourne. He didn't have crew, but it's just awesome car. And a few years later, mine was the 5th fastest in the world. So you had Burnett's, mine, and 3 cars in between, which I think were actually fuel cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we saw the fuel cars at Sydney last weekend, and one of the commentators come up to me and said, "What do you reckon, mate?" I said, "I'm loving this." I said, "But they're not going any quicker than I did." He's gone, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, that's all. They're running 6.1s.
Yeah.
It's 6.0.
What was your last car, Tom?
That car I built in '94
Yeah.
was the last car,
Yeah.
with a few updates because I'd front halved it. I had to rebuild it after the big crash I had, which actually hurt me and hurt the pocket, was Sandown doing demo stuff.
Yep.
John Marshall had a black altered, and he had a few handy guys with him, and we used to do a bit of match racing together.
Yeah.
And Johnny will tell you he's always a bit pissed that he could never beat me, but I reckon that's good. And
There'd be no digs now, would there?
oh no,
No.
not at all.
Especially on the bus last week, nothing got faster.
Well, Johnny Marshall wasn't on the bus, unfortunately, but
That's
the
the
story,
reason why.
the story did come up a few times. But yeah, so we were doing demo stuff. It was a truck event,
Yeah.
and the first pass I did, it was in a nice slide, no dramas, full deal burnout. And the second one I go out, and I didn't realise it at the time, we worked out later, but the Bandag Bullet was doing donuts. So he leaves a circle of black rubber and tyre marks, and around it, all the marbles, which were massive, unbelievable. So same deal, sideways, yeah, this is the same. And then all of a sudden, and I don't remember from then, until I was standing up in the car, that's just gone. But it's hit the tyre it's hit the marbles and gone round a little bit further, and obviously out of my reach, and then hit the tyre marks. And Anna, standing back, said she saw the car shake, and then it just flicked it. And it's not a normal type rollover. You get a coin and flick it, and that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And the only thing that hit the ground on the first rollover was the rear wing.
Yeah.
And then it just totaled it. And Brian will tell you this one. Prior to that event, I just made up a nice little dash with all my gauges, because I always put all the gauges directly in front of me. I could see everything. I could come back after a run and I could tell you what I revved it to at the start line, because I went with pedal clutch. I could tell you what I shifted it to second and top gear, and I could tell you what I revved it to at the finish line. Sometimes I would get out of the car and go, yeah, it's turning the tyres in the finish line. How can you tell that? I go, because the car's light and the tacho's going up and down, bouncing from 85 to 92, 93. It's turning the tyres at the finish line. So, it's kicked out sideways, destroyed the car. The car was totally destroyed. And I've sort of looked up, and the first thing I remember is seeing Brian and Anna running towards me. And I looked down, and here's my little dash, all squashed. So, right, I've gone to great pains making this aluminium panel, and I'm going, oh, far out, your gauges. And Nipper comes up, says, Nipper, what are you doing? Have a look around.
There's nothing there. Don't worry about the gauges.
And the next thing, the doctor's there, and they're I'm trying to get my helmet off, and I always struggled because I used to tuck the strap underneath my jacket, and I'm fiddling like this trying to undo the helmet, and I've been knocked unconscious. I'm history, and I see these pair of scissors come in from a short distance, and it's the doctor ready to cut the strap, and Brian's going, no, I'll get it. So yeah, Brian undid the helmet before it got destroyed.
Did the doctor save your dashboard for you or not?
No, unfortunately I had to go back and do that myself. Yeah, that was unreal. So they took me to the rooms, and I'm going, I just want to look at the car, I want to check out how much damage I've done. And they're trying to calm me down and lie down and all this, and the nurse is taking all the vitals and everything, and I'm lying there, and I hear this chopper, and I go, what's with the chopper? What's going on? So she said, no, it's all right, it's not for you. We had a friend there doing video footage, and he called Channel 7, I believe. Channel 10. It went on all of them. So he's got the video footage and sent it to the main stations, and that's what the chopper was for, to pick up the tape. And so that evening, this was a Sunday, so we're watching the news. I recorded one channel, I can't remember what it was, I couldn't find it, I was looking for it today. So one channel played it, the next channel played it, and the next channel. It was like second, third, fourth story in, I remember Sandra Sully doing Channel 10 news, and I'm going, okay. So, yeah, but yeah, it made the news big time. Yeah.
You still got your hand in on a few cars now with Andrew and Gary Ellis and Nicky.
Yep.
And still can't get it out of the blood, mate, eh?
No,
Don't want
it's you know what, one of the things, and this is why I enjoy this sort of stuff, it really gives me a kick doing, you know, like last weekend was perfect. I'd go to Cowan's Pit. Graham used to drive the funny car for Brownie, so we had a really good, and he asked how's Nipper.
Tell him, good.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know, but I've taken a bit of a guess. So I left the bus and went downstairs and walked into the pit, and I actually bumped into Andrew. He was there on the day, and it's the first time I've seen Andrew in decades. Andrew had a bit of a bad run, but he looks really good now. So I had a quick chat with him, and then went to Cowan's Pit, and he's Tommy, how you going? Yeah, good. And he says to the boys, this is Tommy Cowan for the day. So he got me a wristband and looked after me. And
I was going to make mention of that because
he's an awesome bloke.
I don't miss
really
much.
is.
And here I am, I'm walking around and I see Tom Easton on the back of the pit with Graham and Wendy, and I started rumours that you're driving for it next year. So I'll see how far it goes.
Well, when I decided, I was originally going to come up with Andrew and his family, so because his family goes everywhere with him with his race car, and of course he crunched the wall. Oh, hi Jim, and how's that? So anyway, we were all organised to go to that race meeting with Andrew's car, and of course that's history now, so he's in the process of repair and everything. So I had to find myself a way to get to Sydney, and I said to Anna, I really want to go and look at these fuel loggers. I don't want to miss this stuff. And she put it on Facebook and everything went alive. And Bobby Marsh rang me and said, listen, we've got a spare seat on the bus. It costs this much for the ride, X amount for staying at motels, and a few bucks for a barbecue on the day, which I missed, and because I was down in the pits with Graham, and I couldn't refuse not to do it. It was just so simple, and I've moved out in the bush now, so I'm 2 hours from Melbourne, so this is a fair sort of a drive, and there's a guy from the Melbourne Drag Racers Club, Stevie Stewart. He lives about 25 minutes from me in a little town called Tyres, so I go and hook up with him and we come to these deals together. But he's unfortunately a bit sick at the moment, so with the same deal I got. Someone on that bus passed it on to probably the whole bloody crew. So yeah, that ended up being the way to go to Sydney. And I'm a bit crook on getting crook, but it was worth every minute.
And who else was on the bus, mate?
Oh, you name them. Walton came on the bus return because he had to go and get a checkup. Obviously Clarkey.
Bobby Marsh.
Bobby Marsh organises it. Yeah. He's a whiz.
Graham Donovan.
When
he would drives it.
Mate, I'll tell you what, kudos to him. He's a good bloody driver of that bus, I'll tell you. Clarkey gets in it, and, you know, Clarkey and I are old school, and I've never driven a bus, but by geez, you knew who was driving when Lenny got in it. He fixed up a lot of trucks and stuff on the way through, but it was pretty handy.
I always say if you've been drinking, you should take the bus.
Yes, exactly.
It's pointless if I'm drinking and take the bus, I've got nowhere to park it.
Well, normally I'm not a drinker, and I didn't drink on the bus. Everyone else made up for me. But
Excuse me, sorry, you said what? You're not a what?
Not really.
Not really?
Hang on.
Have a sip. And let's tell them about a time you're coming back from Heathcote.
Oh, no. You
You're the non-drinker. You tell me how much you drank this particular night. You were too drunk and I was drunk, but I was less drunk and I had to drive.
Unbelievable. I had one of those, what do they call them? That they're a jug
of Irish whiskey.
Of Irish whiskey. And I can't remember whether we won, lost or what. I don't know whether it was...
No, we were commiserating.
Commiserating, okay, so I didn't win the event.
No.
Very unusual, actually. I got plenty of wins, and I just set up the trophy cabinet at home, and the top 3 layers are all wins, and the lower run is all losers. They're all second place, runner-up. I never used to say that, but when I set all that up, I thought, yeah, they're all a loss. I could have won them. But anyway, so I digress. So I've got this great, and it was a pretty savage sort of bite, you know. I thought, oh, yeah, I'll sip of this. You want some, Nipper? Yeah. I'll have a bit. So I'm sucking on it big time, and being effectively a non-drinker to a point.
Just big sips.
I said,
big sips.
Nipper, I've had too much. You can drive home. So the house that we lived in at the time was a very narrow driveway. Had about that much each side of the trailer between the fence and the chimney, and so it was an effort to put it in square, especially at 3 a.m. in the morning, which was generally the time getting back from Heathcote. So Brian backs it in a little bit. I forget, how far did you get it in the driveway? Didn't you? No.
No, I got it halfway through because you
Oh,
were waving me in.
I was directed him.
It's directed me.
Coming back, it's coming
Come on,
back.
Nipper, you're doing well, Nipper. Come on, Nipper, you're doing well. And I'm looking at him in the mirror, left mirror, and he's going, you go well. And then the next minute I look in the mirror and he's not there. Where the? I'm looking in the mirrors either side, he's not there. Stop the car, pull the handbrake on, get out, walk around, get past the headlights, look down on the lawn, and here he is flat on his back, unconscious, asleep.
The momentum of going like this
He fell backwards.
carried me all the way back.
I've had to put the whole rig back in, lock the gates, go back out to him, put a blanket on him. See you later, Nipper. I'm going home.
I woke up in the morning.
So not only tomorrow when you get a call from the Victorian Coppers, the people will be asking for their 2 and 6 for you sneaking into racing too, won't they?
Oh yeah, true.
It's all on video.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was good days.
So no, he's not a big drinker.
No.
I'm not very good at
Apparently
holding my
not very
whiskey.
good at directions either.
They would have been good had I stayed upright.
So what's on the cards now, mate? What's you doing now?
I'm retired. I build the odd engine here and there, and we were busy today. Andrew, Harley. I've got this little AC Cobra. We take it to Wakefield next weekend, and this is going to be a quick car. This is a 368 cube little 302 Windsor, CHI headed, cross ram manifold on it, Morrison cross ram. It's a guy in New Zealand. It used to be in Lilydale. 2 1/4 inch butterflies. I don't know. It's got to be 3,000 CFM or something.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to Mark at CHI, he said these combos, I've got a Johnny Marshall cam in it, solid roller, and he said, look, these things are making with a single 4-barrel carburettor on it in the muscle car masters cars. They're making in excess of 700 horsepower.
Yeah.
This is a car. This is a car that weighs 1,200 kilos, and we've got a BTR transmission behind it, all tricked up. Guys at BTM in Geelong set it all up, and the biggest issue we've got, poor old Paul, he's got Parkinson's, and he stands there and he nods off when you chat to him and standing there shaking and rattling. And last year he wanted me to drive the car, and I said, mate, I'd love to, but I know it's going to happen. The rush of blood's going to come down and I'm going to want to go racing again. So I stayed out of it. I wished I had done it now. But anyway, this year I'd organised a really good friend of mine He's a real handy driver, and he's going to drive the car. And then today I was talking to the boys, and he said, oh, very slowly, because that's how he is, I'm going to drive it. And I said, well, Richard's all set up to come and drive it. Well, I want to drive it. And I spoke to his brother, and his brother said, look, it's probably more to the fact that this is probably the last time he'll be able to drive. So this guy's going to be driving a 700 horsepower weapon around the streets. Big tyres on the back. I've got 315, 35, 17 SS street tyres.
Yeah.
You know, it'll look up. It'll go hard. He's good mates with Harrop, and Harrop did all the suspension in it and set it up properly. So it'll go.
Would you say a 3,250 CFM on top of it?
I would say it'd be, I forget the formula to work it out, but 2 1/4 inch butterflies by 8, it's got to be 3,000 plus CFM.
That's sucking in a football field every stroke, isn't it?
Oh mate, it's out of control.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And the problem's going to be, what they do at Wakefield, it's the Cobra, they call it the Cobra Nationals. Cobras come from everywhere.
Yeah.
Or their owners do. They run a hill climb, they run a go to woe, they run a lap deal with sprint laps, and they do an 8th mile drag.
Yeah.
And he got beat in the 8th mile last year. I built his other engine, which was a 347. With a downdraft tunnel ram type deal, and the only reason he got beat then was because he was slow leaving the line. And he said, I just want to blow them all away. I said, well, this will blow them away, mate. Don't worry about that. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're still crewing on Nicky Ellis?
Yeah, still crew with that. Gary's doing repairs at the moment because the tyre shake at Mildura have been a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, poor old Andrew, he's wiped out the car big time, so that's in the process of being rebuilt.
Yeah, he's over there looking good, looking all pink again and looking healthy.
Yeah, he's had a couple of jacks, so he's pretty happy at the moment.
Yeah.
But
He can come crew with me and Dad.
he's still pretty sore.
Yeah,
He's still very sore, you know. But I've got to give credit to him because he reminds me of how, and Nicky's the same. Both of them can get out of the car and tell you what it did.
Yeah.
And that just makes it so easy to make a decision. And look, Harley's a whiz at it now anyway, and they've got all the data, and you know, I look at the data and I go, yeah, okay, and Harley will make a decision on that. Not pretty much all I'm doing is reading the plugs.
Yeah, cool.
And you can tell the story whether the data's telling you lies, which it did early days. You've got it sussed now, but you know, that run that Andrew did, he turned that to 92 in first gear, and a car just shook that hard, knocked him unconscious, and it turned the car hard left. But we saw Harley had taken video footage with his phone, and you watch that in slow-mo, and maybe the last 50 feet, it's hard to tell, but there was smoke pouring off the front left tyre. So we think maybe that the tyre shake might have broken something in the front end.
Yeah.
Because originally I was under the impression that it might have been a little bit of sticky stuff that wasn't so sticky on the track, because there was 2 little puddles of oil, and the boys pointed out some areas where there was a spray, but Harley checked everything and everything was intact.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that we can't pick up, and the video camera from the track doesn't show you the wheel because of the wall. So if someone's got video footage of that car going down the track, it'd be good to see.
Right, look, we're going to have to. Thanks very much for coming in. We've really enjoyed it. It's been great sitting here listening of all the old warriors. And mate, you are a legend of our sport, you and Jim Wall.
We've missed a lot of stories. The book's only, we've got to about probably there.
We might have to get you back then.
Yeah.
But Hey, Tom, thanks for coming in, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's great having people who pioneered our sport still in it and coming back and telling the stories of woe and telling the stories of win and, you know, your trophy cabinet and sneaking into race meetings and this and that and the other. And,
it goes back a long way now.
Lining up to get autographs and stuff like that and convincing people that's you and stuff, you know, mate, all great stories. So,
No worries.
Tommy, thanks very much, Pearl.
Thanks,
It's been
Tom.
fantastic to know you.
Appreciate
and
it.
Continue your friendship for the rest of my life, mate.
No worries.
Thanks, Brian. Good on you, mate.
No
Thank you
worries.
very much.
Thanks, Brian.
No worries, thank you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. A couple of legends. Tommy Easton.
Thank you.
All right.
What have we got
I'll
next?
take this thing that I don't
Pretty
drink.
much, we need to just wrap up the night. It's been a great night, hasn't it? Once again.
It has. I've just got to thank a couple of people. Corey Pocock from Work and Play Trailers.
Yes.
Corey will build a trailer to your specifications and he'll do it. I think they start at 6.5 metres, all enclosed. He'll put kitchens in it, he'll put bathrooms in it, etc. Toolbox, the whole works.
Yep.
So catch up with Corey Pocock, ladies and gentlemen. We all know Corey. I've got his phone number here somewhere. And also Anthony Rochella. Corey's Pocock is 0456 402 907. And Anthony Rochella at Just Muscle Cars. He's a licensed motor vehicle dealer. It's 250173 is his number. He's dealing and buying in classic American and Australian muscle cars and any other classics. They can do freighting and anything like that if anyone who wants
Fantastic.
anything. Catch up with them. They're on their Facebook page, Work and Play Trailers and Just Muscle Cars.
And we appreciate the sponsorship.
We do. Thanks very much, boys. And I'll see the both in Wyala this weekend, actually.
Fantastic. And just really quickly, I know we're wrapping up, and I probably don't have time to read this whole thing out, but Kingsley has sent a message in, and he just wanted to pass on his gratitude for all the phone calls and support that he's had since he's been in hospital. He is recovering well. He said he's got a long way to go, but he said all those calls and messages has really helped him in his dark days. So we're still with you, Kingsley. Thank you for sending that message in.
Yeah, mate. Look, we're all with you, Kingsley. We love you, mate. You're a good guy, and you are our drag racing family. It's easy to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got another race meeting coming up this weekend.
We have to. Yeah, look, this is the last round of the Queensland Championships this weekend, and it goes to Palmyra Drag Strip. Now, Supercharge Outlaws, their leaders are Rodney Hanson and Randall Moore on the 130 and 70. And good luck to all.
Good luck to all of them, I think.
At
You know, I think we'll
Palmyra.
just have we are pleased to announce the winners of the trophies and that on the next meeting. So,
We can do that too for them.
Yeah.
The sportsmen is Nathan Waite and Kevin Weir.
yeah.
And then we've got Brett Kelly and Craig McVie, and they are running in Super Street. Modified bike goes to Leith Skinner and Russell Bell. Good on you boys, well done. Emma Wagensfield and Andrew Tinney are doing the junior drags. Just look at this, there's about 20 of them in that.
Close field there too.
Yeah, it's a good field. Street is Ronnie Shaw and Barry Young. Good on you, Ronnie. Good to see your name at the top there. He's from Palmyra, so home track advantage this weekend. He'll kick with a win. Street bike is Peter Johnson and Keith Curley, so they're up around the top of the points there. Another big field there too. Kenny Ward, there's my brother. Good on you, Kenny. That's your street bikes, and that's at Palmyra, ladies and gentlemen, this weekend. This is the final round of the Queensland Summit Championships. So all those racing and all those close into points, good luck. Hope you have a blind of a run all the time. Get them there, get them glued to the track and you'll be laughing.
And yes,
Yep.
Warwickville this
We've got-
weekend,
that's right,
which
Peter
Pete
Reynolds,
mentioned
yeah.
before. And our next show,
Yes.
number 4, is going to be on the 11th of November.
11th of November.
Monday the 11th of November,
Monday the
same
11th of
place,
November.
same channel.
Here
Tune
at
in.
Stella's Pizza, yeah. Hey, we must thank Ross again for the use of his restaurant and their food and everything. The pizza restaurant, it's been fantastic.
It has, and for everyone that came along tonight.
Our drag racing family, and happy birthday to Taylor Berrius out there.
Yes.
She turned 18 the other day.
She did.
Yeah, so she got a licence there and everything, and Mum's eating the fingernails.
And she's driving Jakey around.
Yeah, she is. And a big thanks to Jesse and Mark again from Sporting Scribe doing doing a magnificent job.
Absolutely.
And for Craig and Josh Baker, big thanks to them for their thank you for us. You know, it means a lot to us. Yeah.
And Wayne for coming in to all of our guests.
Yes.
We really thank him, and I'm not quite sure who we're going to have on the next show, but I'm sure it's going to be somebody great.
We'll find another legend and everything. The good news is I can see Andrew Chessel's over there laughing and walking and everything, so that's a real vote for him. But thanks again to everyone for tuning in on Drag Race Central. We have had a lot of messages come through, which has been fantastic. So
And congratulations to our 3 winners for those
exactly.
packs.
Yes, I'll bring Kingsley's up with me tomorrow. Don't forget, you can watch this on YouTube at any time you like. We only had about 400 watching last week, the last episode, but the next days onwards and onwards and onwards.
Word's getting around.
We got up so many hits. So tell all your friends, and they can watch us any time. You don't have to watch us here tonight if you're busy or something like that. Got basketball or football or whatever, but or footy's over. But you can watch us any time after this. Just go to YouTube, Sporting Scribe, Drag Race Central on YouTube. The link's on Facebook. It came off my page and on Mark's page today, Sporting Scribe Muscle. Susie, thanks, honey.
Thanks, Al.
Been
Another
good fun
good
again.
night.
And we'll see you all very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen.
See you
Thank
next
very
time.
much.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us.